Hello, and thanks for joining us. Cleanup is taking place after a historic roadside attraction in Robbinsdale was defaced by graffiti. Robbinsdale police say that on Christmas Eve, someone used black spray paint to vandalize the Beehive fireplace in Grazier Park with the words "Free Palestine." Crews from MnDOT have since removed much of the paint.
This is just the epitome of senseless destruction. There is absolutely no reason for this. And the fact that they've chosen to pick something historic and something valuable to deface makes it even worse.
The Beehive fireplace was part of a $500,000 project to restore the park. It's the only one of its kind still standing where it was originally built. Robbinsdale police is urging anyone who may have information on the vandal to give them a call. The upcoming legislative session is expected to be much different as the DFL party no longer has full control of state government. It's why local state Senator John Hoffman says this year will be about finding innovative solutions. He recently sat down with Shannon Sladden for today's Newsmakers.
Do you know, I can't wait to get back into that conversation because we left the fire department bonding project as well as community activity center project kind of sitting out there, and then there were some tax TIF provisions that really the city needs. So those are priorities for me, absolutely. And we'll see how it flushes out. If we're going to have bonding, how much is that? We're still a very high appropriated bonded state, so it would make sense to do that, especially on a lot of infrastructure stuff that are needed out there.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll be watching that. Also, your committee work. What committees are you going to be serving on, and what are you excited to tackle?
So I'm still the chair of Human Services, Policy, and Finance, and then they did the same thing over in the House. Now they're co-chairs, and the two co-chairs, Mahmoud Noor, of course, was the chair last year, and then Joe Schumacher, who's a Republican co-chair. Those two in the House, they're absolutely wonks when it comes to policy and it comes to finance discussions. I can't wait to work with those two because I think it's going to be a discussion based upon need and not anything else. It's kind of like do you remember Jim Ramstad used to say, he represented us for years, and he'd say, leave your ego in the hallway, talk about the needs, focus on what's important, and that's what I think is going to happen within the Human Services bucket this year within those two. The thing that concerns me is a couple things. The finance side of it, medical assistance spend down still needs to be eliminated. It's about a $600 million price tag. The medical assistance for employed people with disabilities, we took care of the asset limitation side of it. Now we need to take care of the premium side of it because it's like, wait, you want me to work, yet if I go to work now it's going to be, I'm being penalized because I'm working too much, so why should I work when I can still, it's like, no, the incentive piece is wrong. We need to change that.
Okay. And
so that's important. All in all, the Human Services asks that I'm going to have to balance the structural problem with is $1 billion. And of course, there's only $611 million, of which I said I should get 23% of that. So we'll have to figure out, innovative ways. So if people have other innovative ways how we can do human services, which is a deep need in Minnesota, with our 65 and older population actually higher than our K-12 education population, the needs continue on and continue on, which brings up another concern. If the incoming administration federally decides to block grant, if anybody hears the word block grant out there from the feds talking to the state, put up a big brick wall and say, nope, it's not going to work, because it won't work, because it caps the amount of funding that you do a program. So if our elderly population continues growing, which we know it's going to do, we're going to be capitated on the rates. And you say, okay, hospitalization and nursing homes are Medicaid mandated services each state must have in play. Well, if a nursing home says, I can't do this because my bank isn't allowing me to do this, hence I don't have any money in the bank to do this, then they shut their doors. Guess who has to pick over that nursing home?
I'm sure we will.
Correct. We do as taxpayers in the state of Minnesota. And so that's a concern for me. So it's going to be very watching what's happening. And so if anybody out there hears the word block grant and human services, put up that brick wall and say, no, not for Minnesota. It doesn't work well. Does that make sense?
All right, it does. A lot to talk about, and we don't have very long to tackle everything, but thank you for what you do. Thank you for stopping by, Senator John Hoffman. Good to see you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Skiers may have to wait a bit for ideal conditions due to rain and warmer temps in the forecast, but colder weather is on the horizon. In today's weekend showcase, photojournalist Dustin Scholl visited Elm Creek Park Reserve to show you how you can try cross-country skiing.
We are at the Elm Creek rental building. This is where you would come to get your cross-country ski boots, poles, skis. Try these on. There you go. The biggest thing is to have a nice athletic stance, okay?
When you're using those inside edges, you'll have more control if you're engaging those.
Cross-country skiing is an awesome way to get outside in the winter. We offer lots of lessons.
When you're going down a hill, we also snowplow. So we're bringing our tips together. Notice how I'm buckling my knees.
I love the balance, the easiness of gliding and sort of going along, as well as a little bit of the more challenging workout that you can get out of it. Your arms are gonna swing as we go. Being in the woods with the snow on the trees is absolutely magical. It's such a fun thing to do. It's my favorite winter activity.
I actually tried this before, but I've never quite picked it up, so I wanted to try another lesson because it's really good exercise.
Just a great way to get some exercise and be with other skiers and come out with your family.
I was a cross-country skier in high school, so this was our go-to place to come practice, and it kind of made a lasting impact on me to ski the rest of my life, and so I keep returning. I think there's a new wave of really trying to get outside and do some fun things in the winter.
Three Rivers offers both public and private lessons, but reservations are required. We'll have a link to more information at ccxmedia.org.
The Armstrong-Cooper girls hockey team has hosted a holiday tournament for 29 years. Jay Wilcox has highlights from the Wings opening game of the 2024 Armstrong-Cooper Holiday Classic.
Tournament newcomer Hastings facing host Armstrong-Cooper in the Wings' 29th Holiday Classic girls hockey tournament. The Raiders get on the board early. The first shot is stopped by Emmy Melsness, but they keep whacking at it, and Annie Schliefer gets the goal just 18 seconds in. 9 minutes later, a 3-on-2 rush. Addie Selesky drops it to Jade Shower for the shot and goal, and it's 2-0 Hastings. The Wings respond, though. Abby Hansen to her sister Claire for the quick shot, her 6th of the season, and Jim Joseph's Raiders lead is cut to 2-1 after one. Second period, after a face-off win, Maddie Wall taps in the nice pass, and Armstrong-Cooper battles back to even it up at 2-2. But Hastings retakes the lead. The point shot is saved, but Melsness can't cover it, and from a scramble, Grace Petrich knocks it through the crowd and in. It's 3-2. 26 seconds later, Josie Hammond sets up Allison Werner for the goal. Hastings goes on to win 5-2 over Armstrong-Cooper. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Osseo-Park Center girls hockey team is in the Armstrong-Cooper Holiday Classic tournament again this year. The Stars played in their tournament opener on Thursday.
The Stars taking on Fergus Falls in the quarterfinal round of the tournament at New Hope Ice Arena. Osseo-Park Center strikes first early in the second period. Lauren Rainerson's shot skips past Otters goalie Mia Olsen and in. It's 1-0 Stars, 2:14 into the second. Fergus Falls ties it just over 3 minutes later. Rachel DeBrito rips a shot just under the crossbar and in for her second goal of the season, and it's 1-1. Still in the second, Anna Sims' shot is blocked, but Aubrey Nelson, trailing the play, scores on the rebound. Fergus Falls takes a 2-1 lead into the second intermission. Early in the third, Rainerson lets fly with a shot from a point that finds the back of the Fergus Falls net. Her second in the game for OPC, and the Stars have tied the game at 2. And that's the way it stays for a long time. We go to overtime, and with the Otters on a power play, number 9, Maggie Greenagel rifles a shot in for a goal. Avery Tonneson the assist as Fergus Falls wins 3-2 to advance to the semifinals. The 3-day tournament continues through Saturday.
The Maple Grove boys hockey team won 3 of their last 4 games heading into the holiday break. The Crimson faced Holy Family in their first game of the Premier Holiday Classic. Ches Moots has the highlights.
Maple Grove went 3-0 in the Premier Holiday Classic last year. That included beating Holy Family 5-3. A power play opportunity early in the first period for Maple Grove, but Holy Family's Bryce Wutala takes advantage of the Crimson turnover. He goes unassisted, backhand flip and in, fire on top, just 2.5 minutes off the clock. Later in the first period, Wutala can't make it from the left side, but Ryder Sorensen crashes in and goes top shelf to make it a 2-0 game. Under a minute to play in the first, fire on the power play, the Crimson shut down a rush, then Wyatt Kuznick picks up the loose puck, goes all the way down and scores, going off Adam Kimbrell's stick and in. 2-1 Holy Family on top after one. No scoring in the second period, but just 46 seconds into the third, it's Kuznick scoring his second of the game. The Crimson erase a 2-goal deficit and tie the game up at 2. Just 3 minutes later, the Fire get behind the Crimson back line. Jack Barrett from the right side, wrister. That puts the Fire back in front by 1. Maple Grove didn't get a whole lot of great scoring chances late. Wutala scored another with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. The Fire take down MG 4-2. In Maple Grove, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.
Wayzata and Benilde St. Margaret's are also hosting games in the Premier Holiday Classic. Games continue through Saturday. That's all for sports. I'm John Jacobson.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.